Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Under the Hood, the show for sales and marketing professionals. My name is Gabe McCarthy, lead strategist at Salter Stone, with, as always,
Tony Eads. Hello. Good to be back. I love our little time together here, podcasting and vidcasting and whatever other casting we call it.
Maybe recasting if you carry on like that.
Well done.
But if you haven't showed up on this show before, if you're new, this is basically a show for where we dive into the latest tech and trends for all you sales and marketing professionals out there. The episode today in question is called Using AI Tools to Empower and Augment Your Content Marketing Process. So join us as we take you under the hood.
Welcome to Under the Hood.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't joined us before, we are filming, as always, at the lovely Bella Vista Hotel. Thank you for having us, Bella Vista, as always, in your podcast studio. Namaste. And Tony.
for listeners that aren't here in Australia.
And Tony,
yes, please.
For our episode today of Using AI Tools to Empower and Augment Your Content Marketing Process, we have a special guest.
We do, and it's a great subject, by the way, so whoever chose that, I don't think it was me, I think it was you. But well done, because, you know, I love AI. I might have mentioned that on earlier episodes, but
I've never
I do
heard
love
you
AI.
say that. Never heard you say that. But for all of you who may not be familiar with our guest, if you haven't looked at the title yet, or you have and you're wondering, who's that? Well, our guest is a multi-award-winning content marketer and brand comm strategist based in Sydney, where we're from. He founded and heads up Melotti Content Media, is a qualified AI Ethicist Policy Writer, that's pretty cool, and a passionate educator and generative AI enthusiast. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Chris Melotti.
Thank you. Yay. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. I really am. This is going to be fun.
Good to see you, Chris. That title that you just gave, is that on your business card?
The AI Ethicist?
No, yes, it is.
Yes.
Well, tell us what is that?
I'll just jump straight. Am I introducing myself, or was that it?
I thought I did a pretty good job. But,
yeah, you did do it. Except I want to know what it means.
Sure.
Yeah.
Seeing as he's a content man, what is that?
An AI ethicist is basically someone that comes in and writes policies and procedures for how a company uses AI to make sure that it's ethically and responsibly used. So, for instance, I teach a lot of prompting classes and a lot of AI classes, and a lot of them go, wait a minute, what happens to my team now? Can they, where are the rules here? And so my job is to come in and analyze what the company's values are, what they do, how they do it, and then being a copywriter, putting the procedures together that sort of stipulate the rules and the governance around ethical use, but it's everything. It's like philosophical, and it can be where we use it, how we use it, how transparent we are with our team and our clients, all of those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's I love it.
Thanks for explaining that. And it makes perfect sense, because that's the big thing that's missing a lot of times, right? Especially with this AI. Like, I've spoken at a couple of kind of legal conferences, and the question's always been, well, how does this fit legally? Like, if people are writing stuff, is it the original stuff? All of that kind of thing. Without that kind of framework, it can get a little bit out of control.
Yeah. And I've done this like with the big banks and things. And what it is they are adopting it. And a lot, like you were saying, Tony, they're very like, let's innovate and put this in. And then they go, oh my gosh, wait a minute. How are we policing these things? Like, I've had a client that said that they had a customer that was really upset when they found out that the bot that they were talking to was not a real person. And they got really upset about it. And it's funny because that's becoming more and more prevalent. And the company has to understand, like, has to identify where they want to play. Like, as in, are we being transparent about if this is a bot? Or are we saying, no, we're just pretending that it's a customer, or it's a business? So these decisions need to be made. And right now we're focused on adoption and not regulation or governance.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's what I'm doing.
Well, that's really impressive, Chris. And I think this is a perfect subject to have you on for today's topic around the AI
Hence
tools.
why you're here.
Yes, hence why you're
Caffeinated, ready to rock.
So empowering and augmenting your content marketing process. Let's just jump straight into the topic and go with a little bit of an overview so that the audience, fully grasps what it is we're going to be talking to here. So look, by now, all of you, unless you've been living under a rock like my mother.
Does she really live under a rock?
Yeah, Gibraltar. It's one big rock.
Gibraltar.
She actually is from Gibraltar. Hi, Mum.
Yeah.
By now, you would have heard about generative AI. All of us have heard about generative AI. But you most likely have heard of
Gemini,
generative AI.
ChatGPT.
All of that good stuff.
ChatGPT.
Or bad stuff, depending how you look at it.
It's all good.
It's all good. But how it causes marketers to rethink content workflows, and sometimes it can give you too much of a good thing. There's plenty of tools out there. There's so many tools. I even put out a toolkit one time called the Warehouse.ai, which is basically a Google search engine for finding AI tools. Yes.
Wow, that's really cool.
I know. It's one of our previous episodes we talked about. Go check it out. But like,
is it an AI tool itself? Like
yeah,
an AI
it's
tool
an AI
to
search
for
AI tool. I love it. This is where we're going with
Where
this.
does it end?
Talk about layers of meta. It's like a tiramisu of just AI tools.
Yummy.
But we've shared heaps on this show before, as we said, but there's not enough know-how really. Like
Yes.
marketers, they're eager to start using these AI tools, but there's so many to consider, and there's so many few experts out there on the tools. Well, that's why we got Chris here, obviously. And when generative AI goes wrong, which we've seen plenty of times.
There's a subject hitting right there, isn't it?
Yes, it really goes
I'm going
wrong.
to unleash. Sorry.
And this could be pretty embarrassing and potentially damage your brand, as I'm sure Chris has encountered several times. And look, let's just listen to one of these content fails, which one of our team brought up in our script here. So the example is, and Lenny, you can throw this up if you like, fake citations from ChatGPT used by an attorney. Can you believe that? The bit highlighted in here is that one of the, I don't know what that was, something in the studio just creaked.
You never know.
Could be the AI creeping up on us.
Yeah.
But one of the worst AI blunders we saw this year, which was last year, 2023, lawyers used ChatGPT to create legal briefs without checking their work, which I'm not going to finish that whole article. You can read it for yourselves, who's ever watching. But man, that in itself
It's scary.
is a scary concept. Wouldn't you guys agree?
100%. And that's what I do at like Melotti AI, is our other brand for the emphasis thing, is this kind of stuff.
Right, yeah.
Because, and it's about this policies and procedures, because, I mean, we saw, again, last year, we saw that real estate agent who forgot to, and that she put all the prompts into her ads. So she left them in and just copy pasted. So she was like, something like, oh, make this bad home sound good, and things like that. And it was in the actual text.
Oh, God.
Well, maybe there's honesty in that.
Well, it didn't go that way.
So she didn't turn around and say, "Well, I meant to do that because I want to
No.
show how honest I am
how
about it. Is a bad
how much
house.
integrity.
It
Wow,
is a
look
bad
at
house,
you.
but I want to."
Was it what a marketing spin that was?
I think there's comedy in that.
Maybe, yeah.
She
Very,
got
very
got
risky.
grilled.
Oh, she would have
more
got
than-
grilled.
oh,
Yeah,
I
I
bet.
don't think you could wriggle out of that in any shape or form.
And look, and that's the thing. Like for me, as a copywriter, marketer, I've been there 20 years now, and for me, I love the use of AI, and it definitely augments, and that's why we put it in the title, is the augmentation, but it doesn't replace. And so I think what we're seeing at the moment is a lot of marketers are excited about AI. Like everyone's talking about it, and there's this mass rush for adoption, but with that comes confusion. And I think my knowledge hasn't come from studying; it's come from practical
experience.
I honestly, I talk to that I must be so boring now. I talk to that ChatGPT pretty much every single day for hours, right? And that's the beauty of getting the knowledge out of it, is that prompting. Sorry, you tell me when you want me to stop.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
Because I want to really give insights.
I'm just thinking there's a bit of a social issue there with you having a deeper conversation.
Probably.
Well, there are others in your life, obviously. than ChatGPT.
I'm a very social, I'm an extrovert. And the funny thing is, right, especially with a lot of things, ChatGPT is so funny. It loves to talk to you. It has, and it makes the conversation all about you, and it's always got practical advice. But the way I describe it to marketers is it's called you can say marketer or human AI human sandwich, right? And the way you have to think about it is this. And this is what I tell my team, I train everyone I train, is I say, you as the human at the start need to make sure that you set up the ground rules and everything that you want. The more context you give it, the better. Now, I know everyone kind of knows that, but I'm really, I speak to it for like an hour before I start getting good content out of it. That's what it takes, because you need to set up all the parameters, right?
So just on that, is that the prompts? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes.
So you're using the prompts to train it to say, this is what I want you to do and what I don't want you to do.
Correct. And the more specific, I know that everyone hears this all the time, but it really is the truth. The more specific you are, the better it becomes, because even if you put nuances in there, right? And being a good speaker, I can talk to it really, really well. So I download the app, use the voice chat, and then I will sit there and say, okay, so this is the situation, this is the kind of tone. But it's not just the generic stuff. It's like, this client is particularly worried about their reputation, right? The more you give it that kind of knowledge, the better it will be.
So the intent behind the content.
The tone, subject matter, anything that's relevant politically, all of that really does, right? Because then what it does is, and then you ask it specific things. Give me 5 hero statements.
Yeah.
Right. And then it will give it. And then the beauty of it is you can then say, I'm not happy with those, or combine these. So that's the first part of the sandwich, right? Then you have the AI that generates in seconds. That's the thing that people get tempted with, is they think, oh, this does my job, or this can do a copywriter's job in seconds. How good is that? But the real gold comes from the human on the other side, which is the editor. And that's where copywriters really shine, because the thing is, yes, it can produce some great stuff that often writes better than you do, but that editing process is where beauty comes from, because you can sit there and go, okay, I like where it's going, but I'm going to use different language given my human EQ.
So would you say it's fair when we talk about these fails? Like, there's a few others in here. We have like the sad LinkedIn post about AI images misleading the Scottish consumers.
Yes,
we'll link that below if you guys want to see that.
Right, another great example.
Never want to mess with the Scots.
Oh no!
And then you got the Victorian MP Georgie Purcell criticizing 9 News for sexist image editing to make her outfit more revealing. But you are kind of alluding to there that it's not the AI to blame.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the human intervention.
Definitely.
Certainly in that second one, because I remember seeing that story, and I mean, Channel 9 are terrible to do that.
Like, and they said it was some sort of error, right? Yeah.
But trying to make it look more sexy. This is a politician, right?
And this is the reality, is 100% it's on us as humans. It really is. For everyone listening, it's really important that you don't just go, great, copy paste, right? With that, legal is a great example. When I train my team of copywriters and content producers, what I would say is, this is not acceptable, right? I always say, you must be checking, and when you ask for references, you need to physically go into the reference and ask it, check it, because it makes, like, we did an example live with my team, and it said like 9 out of 10 something businesses do this, right? And I it didn't even give us where it came from. So I said, what's the link? And then it gave us the link. We went in there, could not find it for anywhere, right? So as the people running these ChatGPT prompts and things, and all of your platforms, it is absolutely your responsibility, because your reputation is on the line.
So true. And it goes for any of the tools that you use, right?
Definitely.
We've listed quite a few, and you've already mentioned like ChatGPT, but there's also, as HubSpot partners, elite tier partners, we use the latest ChatSpot and AI native tools
stuff,
within It's amazing. Especially, I'll talk to some in the toolkit later on, as we usually get to at the end of these shows. The AI website generator, the blog creator, etc., the content creator tools in AI, the AI video and image editing tools as well, and things like Video, Midjourney, Firefly, all those good things. Those are all tools, like you're saying, but the real power comes behind those, harnessing those tools, like any tool. Like if you were a farmer and using a tractor, the way that you do a good, tractoring of your field.
That's a verb now.
Is that a word? You just invented it.
However you do your farming well is dependent on how well you use the tools.
100%.
You don't blame the tools at the end of the day. You're just a bad farmer.
But I think as well, like you mentioned a few AI tools. I saw the other day there's something like 7,000 AI tools just released in the last 24 months or whatever, the last couple of years. So finding the right AI tool, I think, is the biggest thing. Now, you've just been talking about ChatGPT 4, obviously, and I think, I'm definitely an advocate for the paid version.
Oh, yeah.
The other one, because,
you have to.
And I'm sure you would be, because you're not getting much out. But how do you decide as a marketer which AI tools do you play with and which are the ones that you don't?
So I agree with Gabe there, which is, you need to experiment and you need to be aware that they are tools, right? So I know there's a lot of hype going on right now, and I speak to a lot of clients in different industries, and there's a lot of hype and there's this excitement, right? And then on the other flip side is a lot of those products now are going, just put AI in the box and people will buy it, right? Like we've all seen, CRM with a bit of AI, and even
the URL, I think. You just have
just .ai
or .io or something like the .coms and the .com. They're old school.
Yes, right. So for all marketers, great question. I would suggest you first of all try and get the free version and play, because the biggest thing you can find is as anything like this explodes, there's so many tools that do so many different functionalities that overlap in so many different ways, and you've got to remember it's not a replacement, right?
No.
It's an augmenting tool like anything else. So when you're looking at, for example, Midjourney and all the designing ones, right? You don't just go, oh, let's just get this one and then hopefully we'll find a use for it, right?
Yeah.
The idea behind it is, as a business, we've got budgets. There's subscription creep, right? Like if we're signing up to all these, you get all these subscription creep.
There's time creep as well.
Time creep, 100% with that sandwich model, right? So you have to make sure that when you're looking at things, it has to be like anything, productive, useful. Your team have to be trained. All of this, there's so many companies that I'm interacting with that they've just gone, we gave it to the team.
Yeah.
Right? Even like, I know back to ChatGPT is so simple, but because it's the staple one, they go, well, we've enabled it. Go, right? And then that's when like I end up with a class with them and there's like 15 people and they go, we've never used this in our life and we haven't experimented with it. So the answer to the question is, definitely embrace it, right? Don't sit there and go, oh, we'll get to it, right? There's always good tools, but do your due diligence and jump in. This is the thing I found from my own experience. Don't sit there and go, oh, I'll look up a training manual. That's just jump in. Say, with Midjourney, play with it and say, I want to create something like this. I want to create something that learn its limitations, learn the role you need to play, and then integrate it into your systems. Don't just go, oh, it's another anomaly.
It's those learnings. It's really interesting of how like people in your roles as copywriters and people who write content for a living have had to evolve. Like
Definitely.
Since the internet, where SEO suddenly became important, people, copywriters had to be keyword efficient, and
I'm still finding that they struggle with SEO copywriters.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. But now it's like another layer.
Yeah, with AI.
It's like you always have to be like a proficient in all these tools to understand how AI is best utilized and how that then translates to the best user experience you can create as a content writer, right? And it extends not just to video, not just to content. It extends to video, images,
infographics. And that's the thing. Like we recently did an infographic long form blog where we combined SEO with short attention span. It was something that we innovated and we just was in the shower, I came up with the idea and was like, let's do this, right? And we used AI to help us put the images together with the long form SEO optimized content. And it's gone crazy because people are going, oh, I now get rich, deep SEO content and it's keeping people engaged every 15 seconds. And so it's getting that dwell time, all of this kind of thing. Yep. So, but Gabe, what you were saying is back to people who are adapting is it's all about learning to use it in a productive way. And it's not replacing, it's not at that level, because as we talked about, humans need to make sure that we're vigilant with how we're using it. And the rules of marketing, can I just say, still apply, right? Yep. Even if you use a tool, the 101 of marketing is engagement. If you're producing stuff that's in seconds from ChatGPT and likewise tools, and people are not finding it interesting, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Very true.
So, quick question. You talked about long form content in that example just now. Let's talk about short form content. And according to this, we've got to get a stat in. We haven't had a stat yet, mate. 58% of marketers who use generative AI in their roles say social media is their number one use case.
Yeah.
So, let's talk through that.
Yeah.
How to use it for short form, engaging content on social media.
So I want to get back to long form eventually because there's a paradox here. But yes, with the short form, that's where I'm finding a lot of people are using it, and a lot of a lot of content producers.
Can't get his words out.
Can we get that delivered?
Bleep that out, Lenny.
This man said he was a professional speaker.
I just went round and the word got caught. Sorry. A lot of content producers are using it because it's an easy win, because you can actually scan it really fast, right? So it doesn't take much prompting to say, I've got an image, this is what I need. And because now you can insert it into a lot of these tools and say, what are we doing here? What's the tone of voice? Here's how we do it. Then you can actually get it to pump out those social media posts, and you can get it to write it in 5 different ways, right? And so I'm seeing, as a content producer myself, I don't do a lot of social media posts. I never have, because they're just too finicky and too small to charge for and all of that. So AI replacing that is fantastic. And it allows you to get really engaging posts, especially inspiration.
Yeah, and you can test the engagement quickly, right?
Yeah,
because
A/B
you
testing.
can throw a post up there, and you'll see whether people are clicking on it, sharing it, or whatever. So you know by using that, then you can probably go back into the ChatGPT again or whatever you're using and say this needs to be a bit more this way, and as you
Definitely.
say, A/B/C/D testing. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, what I said before is it still requires your human direction, right? So I always think of AI as a cannon, right? But you need to point it in the right direction. So with that, Tony, building on yours is when you produce a social media post, you need to think, would this be better as a poll? Right, produce a
that's a
poll,
good point.
or you might say, those long form LinkedIn posts now that do quite well when they're telling a story. ChatGPT doesn't know that. You need to say, I want this to be a longer form story with lots of spaces and paragraphs so people can scan through the content. That's your job. Then AI will produce it. So social, good.
Do you think it understands the difference between the different platforms? Like if you said LinkedIn versus, give me a LinkedIn post versus a Facebook post.
So the answer is yes, because it knows everything, right? Like I was telling my team, imagine it's like the curator or librarian sitting on the human library. Right, that's exactly how I look at AI. All different forms, right? It's sitting on everything, and it doesn't know what you need. You need to tell it, so it knows it. But the guidance you need to provide. So even if you say this is a LinkedIn post, it still needs prompting to know who you are, how you talk, what the direction, brand voice. Because oh my God, I've seen some horror stories. I saw
back to that again.
Sorry, I saw someone posting on LinkedIn that I met. Yeah. And he was posting about the first 5 years of his business. And he was saying, here are the insights. And he was getting it from ChatGPT because it was saying, this is what works on LinkedIn. When I spoke to him, I was like, you haven't had your business for 5 years. And he said, this is that. He said, it doesn't matter. It's producing stuff that's better than I could ever do. And I said,
and lying at the same time.
And the problem I said to him, when people get to know you, they will realize that you are not that person. And that's damaging for your reputation.
And there's that paradox I think you mentioned when we talked before was about you can only extrapolate from AI what it has already ingested.
Yes.
So the paradox in now, which I think you've alluded to previously, is that you need a human to add to the library, as the metaphor you were using, to basically have the AI be able to draw in the information into whatever it produces. But that AI library is limited to what humans ingested. So the paradox is we have to keep creating new content to be able to feed the beast to repurpose content, which is a real weird paradox in itself.
Yeah, like AI paradoxically needs humans. Right?
and also what you're putting in there, everybody else can have access to, right?
Exactly.
And I'm not trying to be negative about AI. I use it. I love it, right? And it is about augmenting your content production. The thing is that I'm trying to be more realistic when I speak and all of that, because people see it as this silver bullet, and that's where you don't get the good results. Where you get the good results is you understand its limitations and you navigate around that.
So here's one thing I'm going to do from this, just hearing where we are so far. When I go into ChatGPT 4, I'm going to say, write this as if I was Chris Melotti asking you to do it, because he's spoken to it for a lot longer than I have.
It would know.
It'd only be able to pull out what was like 2 years ago though, or something, right? From ChatGPT, like the library.
No, it's up to date.
It's up to date
now.
Yeah,
It's ingested the whole internet.
Sorry, edit that out, because everybody's going to be doing that. Chris is out of a business, and you've got to keep putting stuff in, mate, so we can keep using it and reusing it.
Yeah, just say my name. But the thing is, like, I've seen where this is another example. I'm trying to give people examples. I had a client come to me and they said, I need you to write me some brochures and things on our networking event. And he said, I've just pulled all this stuff about word of mouth, put this in. And I said to him, wait a minute, your whole premise is not about word of mouth, it's about collegiate support. And he was like, oh my God, right? Because he was like, so again, that cannon, he fired the cannon in the wrong direction. And therefore his content wasn't, if he had have used that, it would have been wrong and it wouldn't have got the results, and then he would have been confused. So this is what I'm saying, is that when you're using AI, if you want to truly augment and support your what you're doing with content, you must make sure that you are pointing in the right direction with informed and then editing.
Yeah,
that's great.
Cool.
Well, look, we're at the final few minutes here, and we just want to share.
Sorry, did I speak too much? I'm trying to get
No, it's all been great. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it saves our breath, honestly.
Let's have a part two, shall we?
Let's just go straight after.
Honestly, sorry to jump in, but content is just such an important thing. It lives and breathes in everything we do, right? Especially in the realm of marketing, sales as well, like sales content. How do you talk to people at a sales level? I mean, all of these things are so important that we can't touch on them all in one session.
No, but
Unfortunately not, no.
But what I say is you still need to, like you said, Tony, a lot of people are thinking, oh, is content gone? No, it's actually more important than ever. And because everyone has access to these tools, there's a lot of generic stuff coming out, and you have to work harder. And that's where that paradox of the long form I wanted to quickly touch on is I'm actually seeing long form content now perform better because what is happening is people are getting that small form generic content in abundance, and what they want is key opinion leadership stuff. They want things that's unique, deep, rich. And so, but the rules still apply is you can't bore people to death, right? You need to make sure that it's nice, clean and precise. And AI really struggles with the long form because it collapses on itself, because it keeps like repeating itself. And so that's what I'm saying is using AI for ideas and chapters and things, and then making sure that you are contributing.
That makes sense, because obviously one of the questions I was going to ask you is how do you cut through the clutter now that everybody is AI experts or whatever and just using it. But just to your point though about the long form content, do you think people still have time? Because time is another thing that goes against that, is that I'm so busy, I've got so much things on. Chris has written this great thing, but I can only read the first paragraph because I've got to run to my next meeting. Yeah,
and that's the thing. I was under that impression too. And then what I found was a lot of the SEO people that I talk to are actually seeing a huge spike in long form content, around 3,000 words.
Well,
and
that
I didn't believe it, right?
Yeah.
So I've been now doing this for clients where I've been offering a free extra bit to help them get to that point, and I just say, let's experiment. All of them are getting great results. And this is not a promotion. I'm just trying to say that one night we did recently where we got the client to go into more depth with chapters so that it was listicle, and she got 3 leads, 3 big whale leads from it, because they were following her for such a long time, but they never really engaged until she started talking about something, and it gave the blog enough time to breathe.
So this was a blog though, not on LinkedIn, not a long form.
No, it was more of an article.
Okay.
And so what I'm saying is that there's this weird paradox. I'm surprised because I thought that people would but I think what happens is if you write it good enough, I think that if you've got a good flow, and this is videos as well, all that is, I think people will engage so long as it's relevant and valuable. And so the way to answer your question is that bell curve, right? Before we had content that was along the bell curve, which is poor quality, average, and you got the high quality. With AI, we're pushing the bell curve more towards it's starting from the average and going high. And I think the cut through comes from that tail end. Where everything's shifting up to the right into higher quality because it's writing better than most people can. But there's that little bit at the end where the high quality comes, and that's from opinion pieces and things that AI often struggles with. But you can still use it, but the bar has been raised, and that's the difference.
Yeah, cool.
That's really informative and really helpful advice, I think, Chris. If anyone's listening, definitely, take those points on board, especially if you're a content writer.
Yeah.
So I
we
think
all are.
I think
yes, we all are.
And
video, podcast.
We do all of that. Yes, day to day. You don't have to be called a content creator to, create content, obviously.
Yes, exactly.
But finally, I think it'd be good to leave with a bit of positivity and some actionable advice.
Well, you
for
mean
audience.
He's been so negative. No, you haven't.
Okay. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay.
Not at all, just realistic. But it's good though. It's good realism that we need our audience to understand that there's positives and negatives. And that success story that you shared of your client, getting those 3 whale clients, I mean, that's a great positive, you know, and it goes to show that kind of content can contribute to that. But speaking of that kind of content, looking ahead, how do you foresee, in general, AI driving our roles and our responsibilities as content creators? And then where do you think people, on that note, can stay informed and find the right kind of tools always, for what they need in their purposes? What's their go-tos you would recommend?
Great question. All right. So for all marketers going forward, inform yourself, right? Like get involved because it's not going away. It's there. And it is a great tool, right? So I didn't want to make it so negative if that's what I've done. Sorry. Is as I said, I'm using it every day and I prompt it to say, can you help me with the flow? Can you come up with some chapters? Can you think of something else? So it's a great tool. So I recommend, to stay relevant, every marketer and actually every person in business should be getting to know it and finding your own style and exploring and experimenting. Because the thing is, as I said, it's not going away. It's going to be here. It's only getting more prevalent. We will see that, what's that technology curve where it becomes just the norm? Like we get this really excited point and then it dips down and becomes like this.
Like the early adopters type of situation, where everybody gets on it and then all of a sudden.
So it becomes like this really exciting thing and then it bursts and we get into just the mainstream. And that's where I think it will come into its stride, is when it becomes invisible. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that when it starts to become this whole like part of normal business, that's when we'll see
It's expected, basically.
Expected, because we'll start to see universities just let students use it and all of that, and we then will adopt our approach around that.
And that's not far away, right?
No.
I mean, the rate this is moving at, I mean, what we're talking, a year or so, and then everybody said, it's kind of, unless it goes through another evolution, which I hope not.
Law, like the legal stuff kicks in, regulations could kick in, and they could say, no, we want, or something scares humanity. Like if something goes wrong, and then we go into this whole debate against it. But I think really what will happen is just making sure that you're not losing your critical thinking, because that's what you need to be able to do. Is it can't do everything. It's not the be all and end all. So you need to be able to direct it in the right direction, be able to edit it. But it's a great tool. I encourage every marketer to jump in. Don't be scared. Like I've seen so many people that go, I haven't tried it yet. Just ask it, pull it on your phone, and just go.
Yeah.
And
what's
it's
the meaning
free.
of life?
Like you said, it's free.
It's free for the
It doesn't
meantime.
answer that one though. No, have you tried it?
Yeah. Do you want me to try it?
Yeah, you try it now.
Oh, we're
because
gonna try a
maybe
live
maybe they've
testing here,
updated
ladies and
it.
gentlemen.
If you ask it, what's the meaning of life? Because I've read somewhere that someone tried it.
So
we'll
this
just
is
see.
how
This is live.
I'll give you this is the chat, right?
Oh,
Now, so hi ChatGPT. So I'm just currently doing a podcast called Under the Hood, and I'm with some great guys and a great audience, and we want to show how ChatGPT works. So this is how I prompt it with voice commands, right? So the background is I've been challenged to think that you do not know how to answer what's the meaning of life. So I would love you to come up with an answer that's around my persona, that you know me very well. Okay.
Hi, it's great to be part of your podcast. When it comes to the question, what's the meaning of life? It's a classic that's intrigued people for ages. Since I know you're based in Australia, and given the lively and introspective spirit of your podcast, here's a tailored perspective. The meaning of life might be about embracing the journey, connecting deeply with others, and continually discovering new passions and insights, much like the engaging conversations you foster on your podcast.
There you go. Anyway.
Well, there you go. So
Holy moly.
It knows my podcast, right? So that's where it's coming from.
The good thing is how you showed the prompt then of what you did, right? I would have just originally, without going through this podcast with you today, I just would have said, what's the meaning of life?
Yeah.
With no context. So I think that was a great demo.
I
of
even with
context.
the paid version, I run out of prompts. Like it tells me, that's how much I prompt it,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
Like I never say, just give me this statement. And this is what, to help you with your content, give it heaps of prompting,
Yeah.
right? Say, this is the scenario, this is the situation, this is the outcome, this is the expectation, go for it.
Well, I think we've accomplished so much and
Sorry.
also solved the meaning of life.
Yeah,
I think
right?
we have.
We did.
We did it, guys.
What vidcast podcast right here in Australia solves the meaning of life?
We did it.
Especially a corporate one, like a podcast that's solving a meaning of life. It's a bit grim when you put it in that context.
And AI solved it, weirdly enough.
Live on air.
Well, thank you, Chris, for that demonstration.
welcome.
We're going to jump into our next section in a second, but in terms of finding those kinds of tools, obviously you can ask ChatGPT, you know,
Or you can ask Chris.
or you can ask Chris, or you can ask us at Salted Stone. But with that said, let's jump into our next section, which is called We do a pause there so that the transition comes in.
Oh, right.
Like the sound effect.
I was like, where's it going?
Yeah. Okay, so Lenny, edit in Chris's face there,
Yeah.
just like staring
I
at
know.
us,
So I was like,
going expectantly.
What's happening next?
Yeah.
Is there gonna be
Before or
streamers?
after the graphics when he's going.
He will be.
So this is toolkit section, Chris, where we sort of like to just share one toolkit that Tony, myself, and you're invited to as well, have been using recently and or want to just talk about to give some people some practical things to take away, which is often related to the subject today. So Tony, did you want to start off with your beautiful toolkit?
The reason I laugh is he says it's often related to the subject.
Oh, yeah,
Often I don't.
Oh, you
But
abstract.
I have done today.
I know you have. I know you have.
I'm making in 2024. I'm trying to be better and play the game.
You're a good lad, Tony. You know, it only took you 3 seasons, but here we are.
Well, that's it. At least I'm getting
Love it.
better with season by season, like a good bottle of wine. Okay, typeform.com. You've heard of Typeform?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's nothing new, but I think it's something that they've evolved a lot. So obviously Typeform's there to create these really innovative forms. And forms are the conversion piece. So whatever piece of content, like we've been talking about today, inevitably you want to convert it into some kind of lead or opportunity.
Agreed.
So for sign-ups, feedback, anything else, these are great forms. They reckon Typeform claim that they convert at 45% on average. Right? It's pretty high. The good conversion rate, they reckon, falls, this is generally, between 2 and 5%, according to CRO platform company Adoric. So to go from 5% to 45% is pretty good. So worth listening, folks. Exciting new features, which I love in Typeform. Webflow UI is built in, so you can map out the customer journey. So what do you want the form to do after people have filled it in? Video Ask. This is a great one for Video Ask.
You do? It's on my website. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. So Video Ask, basically it's video questions, and then you prompt the answer to be either from a video. So if people like talking in video, as they often do, rather than typing, or talking as Chris was doing there to ChatGPT, you can actually just do that. So it's very clever. So it becomes a video-related form. And finally, AI form lists, which is, again, one of my favorites. You can ask the first question, and then based on how they answer it, AI in the background will frame the second question. So instead of being a generic form that just says question 1, answer, question 2, answer, question 2. So you might say...
it's reflexive, right?
Yeah, I'm on Sorted Stone. I'm looking for something to help me with AI. So then it will actually come back with an answer relating to the question and the answer they've given. So great. There's a HubSpot integration. So if you are a HubSpot people, it's integrated with Typeform plans, including the free plan. So check out Typeform.com.
That's awesome. And
Thanks,
Video
Tony.
Ask has my vote.
Is it good? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's even verified.
Verified by Melotti Media.
Let's see if you can verify Gabe's toolkit.
I was going to comment to your Typeform one just before we get into mine. The AI generated questions one is going to be an absolute nightmare for CRMs having to.
Oh, yes.
If you think about
how do I class this one?
Yeah, how do I put that into a property value? This is like back end coding stuff to do with CRMs that not many people understand, but I think of it ahead of that, and I go, yeah, this is great tools, Tony, but like
I don't worry
the
about
HubSpot admins are just going
freaking out.
No,
yeah, I was about to say.
All I worry about is, will it convert?
Yes, yeah, same.
All right, so my toolkit, ladies and gentlemen, is quite a big one because there's been a recent announcement.
I love this one.
Yeah, a recent announcement by HubSpot, which I thought was very relevant to today's topic on content, which is HubSpot Content Hub, which is now
built for you, Chris.
Yeah, the latest hub to be added into the suite of hubs like Marketing, Sales, Service Hub within HubSpot. It has now replaced CMS Hub. So CMS Hub is no more. You can't say CMS Hub anymore. It doesn't exist. HubSpot reps will just look at you going, that doesn't exist. It's now called Content Hub. So you can't call it CMS Hub. It's been rolled into it. Basically, the tools now in Content Hub are things like image generation using AI blogs, content remix, taking something like a blog and saying like, create a social post, create a video, create whatever. Cool. Just from that, it'll do it in the platform automatically. Remix, remix.
Yeah, remix. Yeah, right.
You've got member blogs too, which is basically people can only access the blog that they've searched through on Google if they enter in their contact details. You've got brand voice, which is a big one now that's available in Content Hub, being that you can add in all the nuances and interest. I can't say that word within HubSpot. So your content comes out more like your brand voice. You got AI translation, so you can translate multiple languages, and lots more you can do with Content Hub. Now the biggest controversy I think to bring up here with Content Hub is that they're now taking in things like landing pages and blogs away from Marketing Hub. So meaning
how dare they?
If you get Marketing Hub now, you won't get those tools.
So what do you get? There's nothing left.
So they're making it so you have to buy both.
Well, here's the thing.
So it's more.
Marketing Hub is now exclusively for automation, really. So you've got email still, you've got social, you've got segmentation, ads, etc. Right? The blogs and landing page tools are now in Content Hub, but you can get Marketing Hub Plus, which is essentially both Content Hub and Marketing Hub together at a much more reduced rate.
You're onto it.
Right.
So Marketing Hub Plus is part of Content Hub, now released by HubSpot. Check it out if you haven't. Look into it. It's super cool. Those AI tools are a game changer for content.
Or just reach out to Gabe if you didn't understand any of that last few minutes.
And I'll direct you to Tony, who will make you even more confused.
Just bouncing around.
That's right. I'll just direct you to content guru here, who will just talk to ChatGPT and you'll have an AI answer in seconds.
So our last toolkit, Chris, did you want to speak to yours?
Yep. So mine
you've
was
got
more.
One, have you?
Yes,
because it says here ...
Oh, I thought I put it in. So mine's more practical. I did a white paper recently, so it's not exactly a tool, but it is on.
I did a whitepaper.com.
No.
Oh, no. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, .com. No, so if you go to Melotti, Melotti, AIethics.com.au, and you can actually find my free white paper on the ethics of it. And it's really engaging, so it's not a boring, like an endless document. And what it's showing is how companies can get really up to speed with the rules and regulations and governance on AI use and policy use. And I'm finding that that's been really popular because a lot of people, like you both, were like, what's that? That's what I'm trying to enlighten people on this. So yes, it's not a tool, but it will help you use the tools that you're putting in
perfect.
there. So
Wow.
so it's free download. Just jump onto a website, and it's been written by me. So I try to make it
Not
nice
by
and interesting.
AI?
No, it's actually I've actually had
Are
to
you
start.
really?
Yes, no, totally me. And
Well
I've
done.
had to start like putting on there. That's just me. It's not AI.
I know, because it'll be interesting, right? Because if you ask that question, we're not going to do it now. If you ask the question to ChatGPT, tell me about the ethics of using you. Type of thing.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, it's kind of
It'll
like,
come up
I
with
can't
don't.
answer.
Yeah.
You fool, why are you using
No,
me?
it's always enthusiastic. It's like, oh, that's a really good topic.
Well, thank you for sharing that toolkit, Chris. We'll link
You're
it down
welcome.
below, of course,
Thank you.
so people can click through and find that really cool white paper. I love a good interactive new bit of media that's stands out from the rest, and that sounds like one of those. So keen to
Thank you.
look into that myself. We've also added in a few call to actions in the description for today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. You can check out number one, which is how AI amplifies productivity for sales, marketing, and service hubs, which is a blog by our lovely Mr. Tony Eads.
What? Did I write something?
Yeah, no,
The real me
the
as
real
well.
you.
No, this was pre-AI, I think it was.
Oh.
Well, not pre-AI, because I couldn't be talking about AI.
Yeah, actually, good
I
point.
was so forward thinking.
Yeah, really forward thinking.
Back in what, the 50s when AI
There it is.
the term was
Yes.
was
Yes.
deemed
Like
That's
AI.
true, actually.
Turing.
Artificial intelligence, came
Yeah.
out in the 50s, and yet we're talking about it now, years later, and now it's popular.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So if you want to make something popular, get onto it now, because
Yeah.
70 years from now,
You'll
Yeah.
be hip.
Yeah, exactly. But that's been our episode, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'd like to thank our guest, the lovely Mr. Chris Melotti, for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
can we
Thank
have
you
him
so
back
much.
again, please?
I'd love to come back.
Can you
I'll
come
ask
back again?
ChatGPT and see what they think.
Yeah.
Just say, if I was Chris Melotti, would I return
Am I
to
good? Yes, yeah.
am I good talent?
Love it.
No, it's been absolutely lovely having you. And then, yes, of course, we'll look to have you again on in the future, Chris.
Thank you.
But
Thank you, Gabe.
appreciate you.
Thank you,
Thank you. And thank you, as always, Mr. Tony Eads,
Thank
for
you,
having us.
Mr. McCarthy, for
Thank you.
hosting and managing us and keeping us on track.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I try, ladies and gentlemen. It's like cats, so
Especially the two of us. Like we were just off.
you'll notice if you look at the talk ratio in that last episode, I am very much in a lower percentage.
Oh my god, can you check the percentages?
Oh, totally.
Oh.
I can.
Terrible.
What about hand waving?
78% goes to Chris Melotti.
Yeah, it would be.
Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks.
We'll catch you in the next episode of Under the Hood.